least 40 that'll give you cancer. But SV40 itself is just one of them that is contagious and that nearly 100% of the population is infected with. And Merck, who did all of this in the PBS documentary, admits that they looked at a vaccine for it, but decided that when they admitted that it was happening through the public, that they would get sued into oblivion for it, and so never gave you the vaccine for SV40. You like your mama dying. You like your daddy dying. You like your kids dying. You like dying of cancer. You think it's funny. In fact, I even forget what globalist whore outfit that was. There's so many. I only spend like 5 minutes in the morning checking what they're saying about me. Just, you know, it's always interesting. The more flack, the better. The more it means I'm hitting them and hitting them hard and trying to get the word out to save some people here. This is basically a radio kamikaze operation. This isn't entertainment. This isn't somebody playing games. This is real, folks. This is somebody bashing their brains out in public, trying to get people's attention to the red level attack we're under. Just type in Alex Jones into Google News. Bill and Melinda Gates. It'll come up. I didn't IM it to you this morning for some reason. Another little hit piece on my shelf is out of BuzzFeed. Paul newsletter, OK City was an inside job. I'm going to get into that for you. And we're going to get into Davos. We're going to get into Iran, huge escalations there. The solar storms. Google's announcing that they're going to track everything you do and sell it to whoever wants it. That's already been going on, but now they're announcing it publicly. Obama's State of the Destruction of America speech. It's all coming. You know, the average person making about $150,000 a year that actually keeps this economy going by purchasing things in the service economy, they pay, if you count their withholding and the rest of it, over 40% in taxes. But not Warren Buffett, not Bill Gates, not all this trash. They write the laws where they're exempt and then point it out, but then bring forward another tax plan to raise the taxes on the middle class and call it taxes on rich people, while they get multi-billion-dollar payments every few days. I see articles to move our factories and jobs to China, India, Mexico, and other places where they basically have already taken over and enslaved everybody. And by the way, it's not building up China having all the slave factories there. Actually, on average, a lot of people are in worse shape than they were 50 years ago. It is a complete global race to the bottom and a consolidation of power. Let me get to the Iran situation first. Then I'll get to Ron Paul and the latest Fox News attack piece linking up with the Democratic operatives on the other side to go after Ron Paul. I mean, when you got Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats all attacking Ron Paul, and you got Limbaugh doing it, I mean, what does that tell you? It tells you the power structure is scared of him. I mean, if you're tired of the status quo, there's Ron Paul. But the fact that they've done everything they can to demonize him and hold him back, and it hasn't worked completely, shows that their stock is going down and Liberty stock is going up. But it was an alternate article that I'll cover later when I have time. If you guys print me a copy, I found it out there on that computer, thanks. That was making jokes about me saying the government wants to put a monkey virus to give you cancer in your vaccines. No, they don't want to. They did in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and right through to today. And it's a death sentence for most people. It is a virus that impregnates different cell areas of the body, and then generally is triggered once your hormone levels lower at around age 60. And if you go look at where this monkey virus came from, it itself has been engineered as a bioweapon. And it's not an accident that they put the vaccine in with the monkey viruses and knew what it was doing. It was all by design. Just like in the PBS documentary where the inventor of it laughs and says, well, we were first shipping this to Russia as part of an aid package with the old Soviet Union. Now look at Russia, lowest life expectancy in all of the Western world. Was it like 55 for a man? But he went on and said that, well, when it came out that it was killing all these Russians, we said, hey, that's a way to get rid of them. In fact, we ought to play that clip again. And then they start laughing. These are the outtakes from a PBS documentary, but they got released a few decades ago. And the reporters and the scientists, they're all laughing. They're just like, killing Russians. People dying miserable long deaths, being radiated and chopped up in chemotherapy. My grandpa, your grandpa or grandmother dying. It's funny, killing Americans. And then little alternate toadies. I just showed you the article. Give me that headline so I can give it to listeners on the radio, please. They just make jokes about it. I'm this crazy man that claims they're doing this. And again, we'll put that headline back on screen. The headline. Yeah, at the top. I'll try to get it out. How right-wing libertarians, John Birchers, and conspiracy freaks are trying to hijack the Occupy movement. Hijack Obama's fake movement?
We're on the march.
15 years ago. And back then, the internet wasn't really what it is today. And in the mail came photocopies of congressional hearings about SV40 cancer virus. And I read how the government knew that around 100 million people had died from this, and these were hearings in the 70s, so that's 50s, 60s, and 70s. They estimated about 100 million. Over 200 plus million had actually contracted the SV40. And I was so freaked out by it that I actually went to the University of Texas library and pulled it up on microfilm because they had access to that as well and had copies of it. And I need to dig that back up and do a show on that. And when you see that type of information, when you discover that they're doing this to you on purpose and think it's funny, and then you see somebody at Alternet make jokes about you and call you a whack job. They don't have any facts, just a label. And we go out on the limb to warn people, and then little cowards don't even do their research. They say that Alex says the government's planning to do this to you. No, it happened to our people. It happened to our children. It happened to our wives and husbands. It happened to our grandparents. You scum. You know why you're scum? The cowardly little rat that wrote this piece probably actually thinks I'm a kook and won't even take time to find out about SV40. All right, I'm done ranting on that subject. It's just, this is the type of stuff that really gets to me because don't people have basic self-preservation? I know that the stuff I talk about here is scary, is wild, is nuts, but look at history. Elites are crazy and nuts and out of control. And what's crazy is to know this is going on and go along with it. Now, I want to shift gears before I get into Google announces privacy changes across products. Users can't opt out. That's the Washington Post headline. They've always been using it. They've always been selling your data. But now they're announcing it. And before this even got announced, one of our great IT guys, Max, here in the office, we don't say Max's last name because he's got family in Venezuela and they're anti-communist and he doesn't want them to get persecuted, but he's a great patriot. The point is, one of our IT guys, Max, had already been talking about, it's weird. Now other people on different computers, stuff's popping up on Google saying, hey, Max, with his last name, found this helpful. Do you want to look at it? And this is stuff Max did 2 years ago. And so he was already talking about this a few weeks ago, saying something's going on with Google. They've changed something. They're like Facebook now, integrating data, and they know everything about everything you've done, everywhere you've gone. I mean, this is pretty big news. And in the New York Times and the Washington Post and in all the rest of it, they are just announcing it like, oh, yeah, everything about you is going to be integrated and used now, and you have no privacy. No kidding. When the head of Google, Schmidt, 2 years ago, remember, he said, you shouldn't be doing something online if you don't want people knowing about it. But see, now Google's saying retroactively everything you ever did with them is going to be public. We are being bum rushed by the authoritarians on web censorship, on the police state, on the secret arrest of citizens, on using our data. The government just admits they wiretap millions of Americans every day now. It's all criminal. In fact, I haven't even gotten to the big news yet. In fact, that's what's actually flipping me out today. Is I told you Aaron Dykes came to me yesterday with some documents, and then I found out that it was actually in mainstream dinosaur news, but they were reporting it like it was no big deal. And it just completely confirmed everything we already knew about the architecture of Homeland Security and had been criticized for. Just like when the Emergency Centers Establishment Act came out last year, it just tried to put into law and extra funding what had already been built. And when you've reverse engineered something just from pieces and it's exactly what you said it was, it starts freaking you out. You know, we call it our gut, like a good police detective. They say, yeah, Bill, he's just got the gut. He's got the nose. It's not the gut. It's not the nose. It's the subconscious mind is hundreds and hundreds of times more powerful than the conscious mind. And I can integrate all these pieces together. And plus, a lot of it's just out in the open. It's not hard to figure out. That's another thing that's kind of disgusting about it. But they are announcing that the feds are going to hire all local police. You're going to have to get federal approval for any job through Homeland Security. Private TSA security people are going to be on every street corner, naked body scanners, public groping, blood draws, DNA samples, forced inoculations, and the companies, it's all the former heads of Homeland Security, Ridge, Chertoff, the former national security heads, all getting paid off by this, making millions apiece, billions for the companies, and it's just the military-industrial complex eating America. I mean, it is such a total takeover. And all of the control freaks that are going to want the jobs, and they're going to take the jobs for the money and enjoy it, and just the fact that I can't handle TSA trying to grope me, and I can't handle pulling up at a checkpoint and a bunch of criminals trying to do. I mean, I can't handle Nazi Germany, folks. I won't go back down to Mexico because 3 years ago, I went down there to see some pyramids with the family, and going to and from the pyramids, the military would pull over the big tour buses and shake down and take all the money out of the wallet of the bus driver, and they'd get on crying. I mean, I just can't handle it anymore. And these documents, we spent hours reading over them last night, and Aaron did a big report, are so hellish. And they're so horrible that it just, but I'll tell you the good news before I get into this Ron Paul information. I was watching with Aaron the video press releases that the National Security Council and these different consulting firms have put out with Homeland Security, and I was watching the different really slimy, really evil, bad people like Janet Napolitano and others that were up there with her and Chertoff. I mean, like bad guys out of a movie, but a couple levels worse. So this is real because they're so weak, they're so wicked, they're so deceptive, and they know 9/11's an inside job. They know OKC is. They know the government shipping the narcotics in. They know about all of it. And they were sitting there. The good news is watching some of these videos and their body language just when they were together. And, of course, the press release isn't publicized. It's mainly for, you know, establishment types to watch it. It's like a press release to their people. And they are scared. And they are slimy, and they know. You can tell when you see them. And Napolitano's talked about this.